Hello, 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 my loves. Okay, so I'm back this week. And you know what? Introverts, we like our quiet time. We like to recharge our batteries. And you know that. I know a lot of us do the whole Netflix or grab a book and a cup of tea and go find a corner and say, leave me the hell alone. I need a minute. But what if there was more to reading and just Netflix? I know there's more that we can do. There's more things that we can do to help recharge our mind, grow into our mindset, and just help us find that inner peace. Because I think that's something that we find harder to grab onto, is that inner peace, because it always feels like other people are trying to pull at it. They're trying to just pick away at little pieces that we have, even though they're not intending to. And it is because we have that need to recharge, that inner self. So it's like, okay, so how can we help people recharge? What can we do to help people find ways to just be well with this? How can we control ourselves, control our surroundings, control our mindset by giving ourselves some time, some flexibility? What better to bring on someone who actually does this not only for themselves as an introvert, but helps other people expand themselves and just feel at peace with themselves. And what I love, you know me, my loves, I love cherry blossoms, I love flowers, I love nature. Rachel, she knows a lot about nature too, and she does a lot with that. So she's kind of a kindred spirit, especially on that whole introvert side. Hi, Rachel, how are you doing today?
Hello, Karen. I'm doing so well. And even though I know I have things I'm going to share here with everyone, I'm feeling nourished in my heart just hearing you saying everything you've said so far. I feel, the introvert in me is just feeling like so soothed.
Well, that's the purpose of this. Is introverts, we're a special breed in ourselves. We're a special kind of human. And the whole world, we cannot do this world without extroverts, and we cannot do it without introverts. So let's help the introverts rise up to the best version of themselves, so that it's not like they can compete with the attention an extrovert receives, because we've got to admit it's an extroverted world. But I want them to feel at peace with who they are, what they contribute, and how they show up. And that is why I absolutely loved some of the things you talked about, is that well-being around it, that self-love, that self-care, that opportunity to go, okay, this is me, this is my time, now let me be the best version of me. Now, you're an introvert.
Yes.
What made you go, I am going to help people do this? Because I know as introverts, we tend to go, let's find a little quiet corner and hide.
Well, it didn't happen just immediately. So the past few years I've been working with people one-to-one, but prior to that, I was an environmental educator. I was a teacher, and even being a teacher as an introvert is a little bit of a stretch, I feel. And there are definitely ways that when I was a teacher, I had to run my classroom so that there were periods of quiet, because if we had too much unstructured, loud, chaotic time, I literally felt like I wanted to just go find a closet, open the door, stand inside, scream a little bit or a lot, let the darkness pass over me and hope everyone forgot about me for a few minutes. So there's that. But I want to share some of what I do now. There was the earlier inklings of it in my childhood. And I don't know if you ever find this with people you work with and the introverts listening, but as a child, I was one of 5 kids. So a little bit of a big household. And for me, books and going out into nature, those were the ways I had my quiet time. So when I read a book, literally there can be things happening all around me and I don't know any of it's happening. My sisters recently were asking me about something from our childhood, and I just said, I guess I was really in a book that day, because I have no memory of what you're talking about at all. And I have a really good memory.
That little bubble that we create, where it becomes our own little world, and it's like our little self-reflection, our little bubble of peace. And yeah, I may have been guilty of the closet thing one time or two.
Yeah.
Especially if you have chocolate and you have kids, the
Oh,
closet
yeah.
is the perfect place to eat your chocolate. Just
You
saying.
know, I forgot to bring chocolate with me right here, but I've been eating a lot the past few days, so um, but yeah, when you were talking about books at the beginning of this, it was making me think these days, because I have small children and they're around a lot. If I read a book, it's like I said, I tune out. So I don't read as many books as I used to, partly because I can only do it when they're asleep because I literally will forget to watch my children for 2 hours. And this has happened, and in my mind I'm like, I just have to finish this chapter and then I'll go check on them, but 3 hours later I'm
It,
done with
it,
the
it-
book and then I decide to check on them again.
yeah, it wasn't a chapter. It was, I just have to finish this entire book, or I have to finish this series of books.
Yes, exactly.
Uh,
Exactly.
It's kind of like the whole Netflix, just one more episode. And then how
Mhm.
dare you ask if I'm still watching? Because I can guarantee I am.
Exactly.
Oh,
Oh.
one of the things that we were talking about is that you actually help people to have something in place
Mhm.
to support themselves in their business and their well-being. And this
Yes.
isn't like going, hey, I need you to have daily methods of operations, systems, I need you to have an email checklist. You're not talking about actual business setups and procedures that's all technical and statistical and everything like this.
Mhm.
This is a different kind of connection to help people
Mhm.
thrive. I think thrive is a
Yes.
good word here.
I like that too.
So how do you tap into that thrive? Because I know one thing, when you're in business, the first thing I hear from every single one of my clients, every single person I talk to is, but I don't have time to do anything else.
Yes.
And
What? Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's something that you kind of specialize is in getting that separate, that well-being connection, that thriving,
Yes.
that balance. How do you
Right.
help people do that?
So one of the major ways that I help people do that is by carving out a little bit of time, and it literally can be 2 minutes if that's what you've got, to connect to nature and whatever nature you have. One of the things I love about the natural world is even if you live in a very urban environment, you probably have a window. I really hope you have a window. And trees, house plants, a view of the sky. It doesn't have to be a lot. If you don't have any of that, get yourself a fruit bowl because that stuff grew on a plant. and and for me, so typically in the mornings before I get to work, and I work from home. I have off and on over the year. When I was a teacher, I didn't work from home because I was a teacher pre-pandemic. But I found years ago, as an introvert, working from home is so great for me because I get to choose when I leave. I get to choose when I take appointments. And I still have that human interaction, but for me, it's at a good amount of I'm not immersed in people everywhere all day long, Monday through Friday. So I do acknowledge that I have a little bit of control to some degree over my schedule. However, when I even on days where maybe I don't, so whether I'm at home or let's say I'm in the car taking my kids somewhere, I will look at the sky and just tune into what's happening with the sky today. There's this barn that's just as you leave my neighborhood that every day I look at the barn and see, are there turkey vultures sitting on top of the barn? It's almost like a little game I play with myself. And it sounds simple, and it is, but it's one way that every day I tune into the environment. I'm thinking about where I am, I'm noticing the weather, I'm noticing the clouds. When I'm tuning into the turkey vultures, I'm not thinking about, is such and such going to happen with my kids today? Are my husband and I going to make up from the fight we had? Is so and so going to email me back about this thing? It, am I going to stick to my meal plan that I came up with? I just don't even have to worry about any of that. Even if my kids are talking to me in the car, I'm just tuning into what's happening with the barn, what's happening with the sky, how does this field look? I live on the edge of a city, so it's a semi-rural where I am. And for me, that's a sweet spot because I love looking at farmland. I've worked on some farms. I don't know that I want to have a farm. And my husband definitely has said he grew up on a farm, so he is strongly opposed to living on one again. But for me, this small little connection, and the days I'm at home, if it's good weather, I go out on my back porch and I just look at the trees. And I'm a spiritual person as well. So some days I'm like, give me the wisdom. I need something. Send me the good, whatever it is, the good vibes. And I take a few deep breaths. I drink my coffee. If sometimes I'll meditate out there, sometimes I don't. If it's a really busy morning, then I might just stand at the door and look outside at the trees for 30 seconds. And for me, it's like a cornerstone of my day. I feel it almost has the same effect as if I meditate for 10 minutes, and I feel a sense of calm. And I want to use the word control. It's not exactly that, but that feeling of when you feel capable of handling things that control sometimes gives us, that's the feeling I get from it as well. Like, I'm capable to handle today. And then I go about my day. And the days that I don't do this, there's a little bit more frantic reacting to the day rather than feeling grounded and capable and confident in myself.
Now, obviously, you're talking about when you're in the car driving and you want to look at things, you're like, while you're at a red light, while you're stopped, having you zone out on the van while you're driving down the road, that would just not be a good thing. Make sure you stopped at a red light or something first. That's the best way. But yes, take that few seconds, just a minute to breathe and go, okay, I can do today. This is my time. This is just a moment I can tap in and get the things done I need to do. And you're saying that not only, because we just talked about how it helps with your wellness, it gives you that sense of control, that sense of peace, that sense of just breathing and having a minute. But that also can also spill over.
Yeah.
But right here, we're talking about being well, being free, being in the moment, having that peace of mind, that control, that calmness. And people are like, well, how's that going to help me with my business, my career? It has this spillover effect, I think is it. How do you see that spillover effect happening?
Yes. So I come across people a lot who they would love the effects of meditation, but they're not really into meditation. And to me, this is like a mindfulness in nature type of practice. And so I see that it has the same effects of I'm more patient to respond to challenging situations. And I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I feel like with my kids, at least, I've got one of those every hour probably. And at work, it's not always challenging, but there are challenges, definitely.
Every hour, I'm like looking at my watch and going, oh my gosh, I've had 15 minutes. Like in the back of my head, I'm going, what wall or what surface are they scribbling on? And okay, who's put who in which cupboard? So now, okay, you're lucky. You get an hour.
Yeah, it might be an over exaggeration. And here's some of the other things that nature does that I love, love, love. So people are shown to have higher levels of emotional intelligence, be happier, be more resilient. And these are backed by scientific studies. So it's not just me being like, I feel it and everybody else feels it, but we are feeling it, and it's backed in the scientific journals. So there's that. People, if you can get into a space where you're looking at a lot of nature, so you might not do this every day depending on where you live, but if you can every weekend go where you can see a whole lake or a whole field or a forest or the ocean, those types of settings, or just gazing out at the nighttime sky, evoke awe and peace and wonder and a sense of being connected to everything else. And so those feelings, I'm getting tingles right now talking about this because it's just making me feel so juicy. I don't know if you ever noticed that some of your clients or people who are on the podcast talk about, sometimes I feel like being introvert, there's this contrast between I need alone time, but I don't want to be lonely. And it's almost like, how do I balance? Like, I still, for me, sometimes it's, oh my gosh, I'm feeling lonely. Like my by myself cup is filled up, but my I need some people now cup is totally empty.
And you see, to me, that is a huge myth about introverts. They were like, oh, no, you're shy, you're lonely, you're a wallflower, you want to be alone. No, we just sometimes need a break to recharge our batteries. And then we're happy to jump back into the crowd. We're
Yes,
happy to go back to
exactly.
the people. But the way an extrovert recharges by, oh, we're in a crowd, we're having fun. I'm going to siphon your, like kids siphon your energy. Like, I think that is the solution. That's why we drink so much coffee. And but extroverts siphon the energy from those around us. We just need a few minutes to rebuild our energy before we can go back into it. So there's this whole thing that introverts are lonely. We're not lonely people.
Yeah. And so back to nature. So when I'm out in nature, I get, it fills up my cup a little bit. I also start getting ideas. To me, it feels like it's that quiet space between we have a problem we're working on and we haven't figured out the solution yet. But when I'm looking out at the trees or at the barn down the road, even if it's the same scene I look at every day, if I let my mind drift for a moment, new connections start coming. And so I find it brings my creativity, it increases it a lot. During the pandemic, I was on my back porch so often because even when it felt like there was too many voices, even though we only have 4 of us in the house, I just knew that I could go out there. Sometimes I would lay down on the porch. So all I could see was the sky and the trees, unless someone was literally standing right like in my space, which my kids would do. And I would just feel that sense of calm. I gain a lot of strength from looking at trees, and I'm inspired. To me, it's almost like they're giving me a silent pep talk. They're like, look, we did it, you can do it. We're strong, you're strong. And I just feel these beautiful beings that live in the environment, and I look at them and I get inspired. And unlike people, I don't know if trees have extrovert or introvert or whatever, but they don't need anything from me. They're just being. So I get to just go be near them and nothing is required of me. So it lets me relax and be more myself. Sometimes I can feel my thoughts or hear my thoughts, or, it also allows me to have some of that space to either connect ideas or examine, I was really crabby with so-and-so, maybe I should apologize. Or it gives me that space to see what's coming to the surface that if I'm going about my normal day, those things aren't always happening. And what I find is if there's not enough of this quiet space, my life just kind of takes a downhill turn in various ways. The personal relationships get more problematic, then I get grumpy, and then it's like the cycle just continues downward.
Oh yeah, and also, just for anyone listening, it doesn't have to be trees.
Yes,
it can be
I'm a big tree person.
You're a tree person. Mine, I do. I escape to water. Get me by the lake. Get me by the river. Get me by something that is water and moving, and all of a sudden the rest of the world melts away. So it's about finding your space. It's not anything's right or wrong. It's where's your space where you feel like you melt and just all of a sudden it's that, I don't know how to describe it. Maybe you can describe it better. There's this calm, like you're existing, you're not existing, you're there, you're not there. Everything's going on around. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes. Well, and I feel in some ways it's so much of a rich experience. It's hard to put into words because it is a really felt experience of that. And maybe the rest of our day, we're not doing that type of thing. I mean, I'm loving our time right now, but it's not you know, there's a different quality. Every interaction has a different quality. And when you're in a space, like I said, for me, the forest, for you, by water, for somebody, maybe it could be your neighborhood park. Some people like where there's the hustle and bustle still, maybe not all of us, but maybe it's farmland and fields or the mountains, whatever it is, finding that space and letting that fill your cup up. And also for me, it can spark my creativity, which is also another way that I fill up my introvert cup.
So with the creativity, I mean, I think having that spark of creativity is one of the best things that you can do to propel yourself through life, because those creative moments that start that thought process that makes you have that next big idea, that next big emotion, that next big plan. How do you spark those creativity moments? What do you do to like just really go boom, high gear?
Yes. Well, a few things. One, I'm a big believer in setting an intention or the power of an intention. So if I'm going outside with the thought, I want to have my creativity start flowing, I'm bringing a journal and I have the intention something is going to happen, something creative. And I've been doing creative stuff. I say stuff. It's doodling and writing mostly. I've been doing it long enough that I don't have a lot of time where I'm sitting there with my notebook and my pen. What's going to happen now? What am I going to write? I've gotten past that because I know the habit of I just need to sit and either start writing or start doodling and the creativity will come. And sometimes I'm doing it in nature. Sometimes I'm doing it at my desk or in the living room or at the kitchen table. I also use playlists to help facilitate that experience for me, because years ago when I was doing my master's degree, I knew I had to get my paper written because that was part of the graduation process or the whole degree process. And it's kind of like when you're not in class and it's a long looming deadline, well, when do you write and how do you decide how much to write and all of that? And so over the course of, I'm not really sure how long, a few months, I came up with, okay, what's my process for writing? And a few things that I realized were, for me, if I have some triggers of a playlist, it's the same playlist I play every time, and I'll burn some incense, and I gotta have my drinks there because I don't want to start writing and then there's no coffee or water. So those have to be there. And then I just go and I just write. And same thing now of when it's my creative time. And earlier today I sat down and I thought, I have no idea what I'm going to write, but I was feeling kind of in a funk and I knew I'd already had my nature time and that did not fix my funk. So I thought I need to do something. I really want to feel differently. And I think this is what I need. So I put on my playlist and I started I sat there for a minute and I'm thinking, I don't want to draw, but I had the pen in hand and I thought, all right, just start putting something on paper. And then 15 minutes later, I'm feeling really good. I posted one of my pictures to Instagram, which I don't normally do, but I was feeling all the feels about it today. And there's something about the creative process that it's a solo pursuit for me, but it feels that same connection that I feel when I'm out in nature of like I'm connected to all of life and things are just so exciting. I mean, not every single time that I'm writing and doodling do I feel that, but some of the time I do. And that's what keeps me going. And then it changed my mood for the whole rest of the day.
See, I love that. And you see, we even teach, I do neurolinguistics, which is
Cool.
your mindset, NLP. And one of the techniques that I absolutely love is the brain dump. And that
yes, I love the brain dump.
Dump it on paper. I mean, it's got other names, but like just start scribbling. It doesn't matter if you're talking about pink elephants flying across the room carrying blue polka dots. It does not matter what it comes out. Just throw it on the paper. It is such a good processing tool. that helps you make sense of so many different things is one of the best things you can do. So when you were saying that, I was like, oh yeah, I know this one. This one's good.
Yes.
There's so many
In
people.
almost all of my programs or free challenges, I include a brain dump because it's so good and it's so easy. And 5 to 10 minutes. Last week, I was having a bad moment. It was a day, but it might have been more than a day. I don't remember now. And I got to the point where I told my husband, I'm like, you just need to give me some time. And I laid on the floor because that's all I could do at that point. And I had my journal and I was like, I'm brain dumping everything that I'm upset about. So maybe I can figure out, is there one thing or another? I filled a whole page with all the things I was upset about. And I thought, no wonder I want to lay on the floor. And it wasn't all me. Some of it's global stuff or family stuff or societal or whatever. But another thing that I feel, so I'm a highly sensitive person, and this is an even smaller subset. I don't know that every introvert is highly sensitive, but I feel like a lot of introverts are sensitive. I'm sure extroverts could be highly sensitive too. But I feel a lot of feelings. I have a lot of emotions, and it's similar to introvert in that it's not like you wake up one day and you're like, no, I'm a highly sensitive person, or now I'm an introvert. It's how we're wired. And so being that and an introvert, I feel over the years I've had to learn, like, how can I live in the world and feel like I'm okay with being me and feel successful, and not even just successful, but I know in my early 20s, I went to this one counselor and I told her, she was the one who identified that I was a highly sensitive person. And then when she told me that, I just thought, wow, all of this feels so connected. And I knew I was an introvert, but I didn't know there was this other layer. And I told her, I said, I feel the extroverts are the ones who are successful. And if I want to be successful, I have to model myself after that. And it was such I was glad that I shared that with her. It was like a confessional kind of moment. But she was so good, and we were learning tools like, how can I find my own version of success in life and feelings and relationships and all of those things. That's not, let me try and be something I'm not.
I love that you brought that up, because we do have this skewed reality that we expect extroverts to be the successful ones. And I'm of the belief this probably changed in the 70s. Because before that, the introverted careers, they were the brains behind the business, the ones in the offices, the quiet ones, the ones that got it done. And then in the 70s and 80s, we came up with this power figure in business.
Oh, right. Yes. And that's when I was growing up. So those were formative years of seeing that in all these different media and culturally. Yes.
But if you think about it, I mean, really, I want you to, listeners, just think. We have this, like the Wolf in Wall Street, that was a power person. You got all these like working 9 to 5, that movie, they were power women in the business. It was all about being powerful and in charge. But if you look at any business, any company, any organization, you have the front person who is the extrovert and the power person, and then you have the person that makes everything tick. Every business, every organization needs the extrovert and the introvert to make it work. So just because the emphasis was put on one doesn't take away anything from you as an introvert. You have your own superpowers. And what Rachel's saying here is lean into them. That's what makes you you. Nobody else can be you. There is nobody in this world that today can turn around and go, hey, I am going to be Rachel today.
Have fun with that.
They wouldn't pull it off. But, like, just no one can turn around and say that they were going to be you for the day. So why not be the best you can be? And part of that is developing those boundaries. Part of that is having that downtime to connect, to clear your mind, to recharge, to get the things that are running around your head so fast out onto paper and go, okay, you don't even have to do it on paper. I'll be honest, my notes app in my phone is like, I type stuff in it, and sometimes I read it and go, really? I said that? Oh my God, what's wrong with me?
That's so funny.
Makes no sense. But do that connection, do that time, do that ability to disconnect and reconnect. And it will help you create those moments that will spill over into other areas of your life. And that's why it's important to carve out that time. Now, Rachel, should our listeners want to find you, they want to look up more about how they can connect, how they can use nature in their lives, how they can doodle in their lives, these things that help them with the creativity and the compassion, the self-compassion even as well. How can they find you?
Yes. So my website is rachelstrivelli.com. And I'm on most of the social media platforms as that. I wouldn't say that I'm active on them all, but you can find an account there. Instagram and YouTube are the ones where I'm the most active. So I will say, if you go there, likely every week, there's something from me there. Although, hey, I'm an introvert and I am still figuring out in business what is my preferred level of being present in the social media world. And that I've been trying to play with that for 7 years. I think I'm finally reaching a good place with it. And some of that is like I show up and I do my thing, but I don't stay engaged, because for me, sometimes the extra engagement is taxing to me.
And you have to find what works for you and what doesn't. And that's how you plan, and that's how you grow.
Exactly. Yes. And I believe it's on Instagram, but it might be linked on YouTube too. I have a free 5-day doodling short course that's about doodling and manifesting. I eventually am going to make it 10 days. So maybe by the time this goes live, it'll be that. And that I feel is fun way to no prior artistic experience required. It's really all about doodling, letting your ideas flow, playing with pen and paper or crayon and paper, colored pencil, whatever, and seeing what you come up with. Because to me, it's energizing to create new things.
Absolutely. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on the episode today. Now, listeners, I hope you picked up a few tools here, from the doodling to the connection to taking the moments to having a breath. Let us know in the comments, whether it be on the podcast or one of the social media posts, what did you take from today? What did you learn? How are you going to implement it in your life? Because you know what, that's what a tool is. You can have all the tools in the world, but if you don't use them, they're just collecting dust. So it's time to use them and grow into the best version of you, because that's all we actually want to happen, is for you to be the best possible you that you can be. Not to change, just be you. We will talk to you on the next episode. Ta-ra for now.